All right, guys, this is Mark Blanton from the Real South Africa. Make sure you like and subscribe to this video. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism. I'm sure you guys have been with us before, and if you haven't been with us, you're going to have a great time. You're going to get an opportunity to hear about those that came to South Africa, and then of course their story, and then now they're back in America. They came on a trip, and then we're going to be able to get what happened once they returned. And of course we have
Latasha Blanton, the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism. And I'm excited today because I love having conversations with people, before they have their trip, while they finish their trip, and then especially when they get back home, because that's where all the magic happens, to see how they do when they get back home. So the lady we're talking to today is going to recap her story for us while she's here. And then ultimately, we're going to see how things have been going since she's been back home the last couple of months.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus, it's really important. We need to be able to tell our own stories. A lot of times we let other people tell our stories, or I heard, or third hand and whatnot. So we want people to hear it, firsthand from the actual people who came on the trip. We're actually going to find out why she came and so forth. We did do an interview with her at the end of her trip, but now that she's back, so I'm sure she's going to be able to add to the story, so we get a complete story. We know exactly what happened, and then of course what can happen to you while you're here in South Africa as well. So without further ado, we're going to bring in our guest. Are y'all ready? I'll put y'all little hands together for Lorraine. How you doing, Lorraine?
Oh man, I'm doing so well. Thank you for having me.
Excellent.
So, how was it when it was time? Here you are. It was because we saw you the day you left, and then we haven't heard from you since. So now that we have you on this platform here, what happened?
Oh my goodness. So many wonderful things happened, and I don't want to take all day, but I want you all to get the gist of everything that I experienced from the moment that I stepped off of the flight, which wasn't bad, by the way. The flight wasn't bad at all because I had a direct flight, so you can work that out for yourselves. But it was very, very good to be on a direct flight, to have comfortable seating, and then to arrive with the gentleman holding up your name. If you've never had that done, be prepared for that experience. Look for him. Your name will be there written proudly, welcoming you. And from there, just having the private details, responded to, just as they stated in the Blanton stated in our our itinerary. Everything was lovely. Everything was exquisite. And we just basically began with being handed off to a private vehicle and driver, which was very nice. Very nice to not have to worry about the crowds of, tourism. So that detail in and of itself was worth the trip. Having a private driver everywhere you go. And then I went on the 6-day experience, which of course now I wish I'd gone longer, but then I'm sure I wouldn't have wanted to return back at all.
Fair enough. So Tasha, tell me how does this process start? Obviously they email us, they call us, or they book online. Then what do you do? What happens on the back end? So that all this privateness that we're doing pops up. What happens?
Well, once we get everything, Lorraine was so easy. She had to make a couple of changes, but we worked that out for her. It wasn't hard at all. But what we do is we start putting things in place. So once you say you're ready to get here, we start going to work. We start making sure that your accommodations are top notch. We start making sure everything is put in place as far as your drivers are concerned. We pick the drivers. We make sure that they're going to be compatible with the guests, because we don't want you to be with someone that that you can't converse with and ask questions to, and that you have trouble being around. So those are the types of things that we do. And then once all that groundwork's been laid, we do have a nice communication strand back and forth to make sure everybody's prepared. And then from there, we just start our email and our WhatsApp group, so that you can have a private trip manager. That way, when you're on ground, even if you are traveling by yourself, like Lorraine did, there's still someone on ground that you have actual communication with every day. So those are some of the things that we do. Those are some of the things that you get. But again, everything is private. Even if you're by yourself, you still feel pretty good about your time in country.
So Lorraine, did all that work out in your favor, you think?
Oh, absolutely. It was, for me, I wanted to set a precedence, actually, being a person of a certain age traveling alone. And that was one of my highlights. And the selection of drivers were perfect because they were the ones that I was communicating with. So it wasn't as if, I'm here alone and then now I don't have anyone to speak with. The drivers well educated, perfect as far as those who were selected to be with me. They were able to answer all of my questions. In some instances, even joined me for dinner or lunch. And so it was just wonderful to be able to have that experience as a solo journey, which I was so excited to embark upon. But the first of more yet to come, and hopefully coming back to visit with you all soon.
Excellent. So my question for you is, I remember the day you left and we did have a chat, but how have things been the last few months since you've been back in?
Has it been that long?
It's been a couple months.
For me, those experiences were so amazing to me. It's as if it was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very vivid in my mind. Every experience, whether it was just interacting, in the community with folks, the Soweto, which was beautiful, all of the museums, the culture, the art. It was just so amazing. It's just like it was yesterday. And that's carrying me right now because, there have been some challenges in our lives here on US soil, and we won't go there. However, it's such a blessing, and it was so beautiful to be able to have that experience that will never leave my mind. I will always have it at the forefront of my mind as my first experience. And then the exquisite care that I was given by this wonderful group here. I just appreciate you so much. Now, being here, all I think about now is my next opportunity, really.
Yeah.
So being in a space where I'm blessed to be in a retirement status, you think about ways of making up for all those times that you had to be a particular place and had to work, and now being able to have something that's affordable. It's affordable even for the luxury that you've provided for us. And so I hope that more folks will take it on and will get a chance to have this wonderful experience.
Yeah, I was listening to your story, and I'm sure other people of a certain age, as you say, will be listening to your story, and hopefully they'll get motivated. Coming to Africa isn't a small feat, because as we both know, there are a lot of people that are intimidated. I'm gonna use that word, but I can get different words. To go to South Africa, were you intimidated or had some reservations or?
No, I was excited to. I was so excited to come, and I, of course, just like anyone else, do your due diligence, know what's going on, just as you would in the U.S. You've got to watch your news, know what's going on. So it was really easy to be able to get an idea of what was going on in the area by just reaching out to, the local folks that do that and keep the news abreast. But I would believe that, it was much calmer than even what I had imagined. There, everyone is about their business, and I felt totally safe. As a matter of fact, being a former military member, yes, always a soldier, right?
Yeah, right. That's right.
I go in looking at automatically, what is my safety? If I need to get away or have, find a space of safety, is that possible? And it was, from my standpoint of just being observant, and cautious without being overly cautious, and
Mhm.
having that private care made it even better, because I didn't have to worry about just local transportation. Of course, it was available if I wanted it, but you kind of get a little bit spoiled, when you've got someone coming to pick you up to take you to your next location, and they're calling you by name. So, and the clearly identifiable folks. So all of my, if I had any reservations, were easily resolved, by the time I hit the ground and saw the actual process of what you all had planned.
Well, good, because we try to paint that picture, but there's a bigger picture. Yes, oh, South Africa's like this, oh, South Africa's like that, or I heard something here and there, and of course, most of the people have worse things happening around them where they live, but and they just keep the earphones on and keep walking,
Mhm.
don't do much of it. And then there'll be like one incident in South Africa, and they're like, "Oh my God!" Or it could even be in another country.
Sure.
They just assume, "Oh, here in Africa," and whatnot. So I'm glad that you came here, had the opportunity to experience it. Feel full, because now you're not head on a swivel.
Right.
And you said you had private drivers, so I think you pretty much had some of the same people every day,
Mhm.
and obviously that makes it just a little bit more enjoyable.
It definitely did. And because I started looking for, that little badge that's on their nameplate, I'm like, okay, I know who you are. I know which organization you're with. Are you looking for me? And they were always on point. And so definitely put me at ease. Being a former military, and of course, keeping my eyes open always, that's this due diligence anywhere you go, especially even here in the US. So, yes.
Okay, so these accommodations that you had,
Mhm.
it's Africa, so nobody expects much, and so it's Africa. I mean, what do? You're like, oh well, I'm just hoping I have a front door that locks at the most.
Look, honestly, I've been to places where they said it was 4 star or 5 star, and it wasn't quite that expectation. But when
Mhm.
I tell you all that these accommodations were just exactly what was stated. Actually, it was probably understated.
Yeah.
Everything was exquisite, uh, from sleeping arrangements, which was, oh my goodness, just beautiful, full, place to stay with. It was just as if you were in an apartment, not just a suite, but it was more of an apartment living.
Mhm.
And then, having the perfect view every morning, and I actually did some video space shots of every day of what it looked like out the window in every
Uh-huh.
location that I could, because I wanted to share the goodness of the experience with everyone. So those accommodations were just amazing. Each night, a new restaurant, exquisite, and that's just giving you that taste of it, but without. And I love the fact also that, of course, it wasn't like pretending that life wasn't happening for others within the community
Mhm.
that did not have as much, and then bringing that into, part of the tour, just made it even more appreciative for the type of accommodations that I was able to reside in while I was there.
Mhm. Okay, okay, okay. And I'm assuming because they, the word on the street, especially there in America, oh, Africans don't like Americans. They can't stand them. They don't want nothing to do with them, and so we should not like them back because they've been mean to us. The stuff that we
Yeah.
hear. We've
Oh
been hearing it
yeah.
our entire
Yes.
lives. When us, we was in the military at some point,
Hmm.
and we've heard it a lot, and so I'm sure you can confirm to everyone that it's true that they don't like us, and
Well, it was, and of course, there's this. misconception that I can now say is definitely a misconception. Those that would say if you had a shade of color such as myself, there would be something to pay, but I'm here to tell you that Americans are well received. Everyone's excited to be able to share, talk, they want to ask you questions. Well, what is life like there in America? I mean, before I could ask questions, they were asking me questions. And everyone is very kind and just very eager to assist. Regardless of whether it's just entering your hotel, finding you the perfect suite, or just even asking directions, because I got out and walked around. Yes, I did. I walked around, the little town of Blanton, which is where I was, and it was just wonderful.
That's awesome. That's awesome. No, I think that it's beautiful because you felt safe enough to go out and walk around. Even as a solo traveler, you still felt safe. So that says a lot about the country and its misconceptions that people like to perpetuate. So that was beautiful. Now, you mentioned a different restaurant every night. Talk to the people about your experience with the food here in South Africa.
Oh my goodness. I will just tell you this. If you talk about how do I feel now that I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, talk about that too.
Let's compare.
We'll talk about the food first. I will tell you that, if you call yourself being on some type of diet plan, just toss that out the window for the time that you're there, because every dish was a delicacy for me. Just getting a chance an opportunity. I felt safe even in eating. A lot of times folks are like, oh, you don't want to eat, you don't want to drink the water and all these things. Well, they had every option that you could ever think about. Even if you do have the dietary restrictions, the waiters were so kind. And they're like, I'm like, can I get this? Because I don't drink dairy or whatever. Well, that kind of went out the window too. But, by the time, and the way that everything was set up, I'm like, well, okay. All I had to do was, if I had any questions, all I had to do was ask. And most of the time the drivers were aware of, okay, well, yeah, this is it. You're good to go. This is where you are. Don't worry about it. I'll be right here when you get out. And I'm like, no, you're coming in with me. We're going to have lunch together, or we're going to eat dinner together, if that's okay with you. And so they were very much obliged. And it was just, everything was great. The quality of food was amazing. First class, if not better. Chef prepared cuisine, whether it was a westernized meal or whether it was something specific to the area. It was amazing. You got to try the oxtails, right? Everybody's like,
going to ask you.
If you don't eat meat, you at least try the gravy on the oxtails, because you may just for the day decide that you want to try those oxtails. So I did.
Where did you have the oxtails?
What was it? The grill? What is it?
Was it 1947 or the Grill House?
It may have been both. No, I think no, I had to catch myself because I was eating entirely too much, and because there wasn't anyone there with me, there was no one to share it with, and so I'm like, okay, well, gotta try everything.
You gotta eat it.
So I had to eat it and then bring my dessert home.
Yes.
It may have been in 1947. So
I know they have some of the best oxtails.
And then I'm thinking, okay, well, and these types of restaurants, the portions are always this big. So I'm going to go ahead and order a salad, also a side salad, and I'm going, oh, my eyes were so much bigger than my mouth, because when they brought the food, it filled my table by myself. So I was like, okay, my goodness, the food was, I can't even say, and regardless of the type of food that you want. And one day I ate an Indian dish, which was delectable.
Yeah.
Prepared perfectly, and so it was wonderful. And I mean, and then there was Johnny Rockets. Yeah, there's a Johannesburg Johnny Rockets there too in the surrounding area, which is really fun because I always like to try and visit the ones and take the pictures, of course, right? So I had that Johnny Rockets experience. And some might say, well, are the burgers the same? Is everything the same? I'm like, no, it's better because you can
Yeah.
actually taste the beef and things that's being utilized, unlike some of what we experience here in the US now, where it's tasteless and you have to cover it with all types of condiments and things. So
Yeah.
the food was just delectable.
That's a
Okay.
good word.
Yeah. Like I said, people generally come and have they have an amazing experience. I know we've had people come back simply because they wanted to eat. They're like, okay, I just need to go back to this restaurant. I need to get some more oxtails, and stuff like that. So I think people are finding, like, for example, you came for 6 days, and even inside of 6 days,
Yes.
you were starting to find out what South Africa has to offer. And if you stay longer, you will see more. And then if you go to different, places, you will see more. But I think we had it set up so you can succeed in that arena. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I really originally wanted the 13 days, and then time and things got in the way. And then there was like the 10-day. And then I was like, oh no, I'm going to make this happen, even if I have to take the 6 days. Well, if you end up having to take the lesser amount of time, there's no lesser experience for you. Trust me
Yeah.
when I say that. I felt like I missed nothing. Not being there for those 10 or 13 days, I felt very satisfied, very fulfilled. I'm again, my everything is just dancing in my head as far as the various experiences, from day one, getting on the ground, and I'm going, but I'm arriving at night. That was what I'm thinking. I'm arriving at night. Well, I'm going to miss an entire day. Well, amazingly enough, even with the time that, was remaining, I saw enough to hold me until I can get back
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, you'll be back. Yeah, you'll definitely come back. Then you'll be joining the repeat offenders
Repeat
program.
offender.
Yeah, we have a lot of repeat offenders. They come and go. Some of them you guys never see, but they come and they go, and then they be like, hey, I'm coming back. I got my tickets, and then they'll send us an email saying we're back. I'm just letting you know, or they're traveling with us. They want to go to a different province or a different city, and so we set them up, and I think they come because they know they don't have to worry about anything, and they can actually be on vacation. And I think all of us just, obviously, some of us are retired and living the dream and, doing all the things as you're shaking your head like, yes,
Just like,
yes, I
I'm tired. Things are good. I don't have any complaints.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, but people just need that break. And when they do come, they feel like they get an actual break. Because I've been on vacations where I go on vacation, I come back and I'm tired.
You need a vacation from me.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. So the big question is, what made you come to South Africa? What happened? I mean, there's a large world out there, and you could have went anywhere, but you chose South Africa. What happened?
I would be remiss in saying that I had some very close friends who had preceded me in coming over, and it was really a blessing to see, their eyes light up, and the emotions around what they had experienced, and so honestly, I've always wanted to come, not necessarily to South Africa, but to the motherland, period, to
Yeah.
Africa. And so, of course, you never know where to start most of the time, where's a good place to go. And then once these wonderful friends of mine, decided to go and come back and share their excitement, and still shares their excitement to this day. And they are, I believe, repeat offenders.
Oh yeah, they're in the program.
Repeat travelers. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, I want to go too. And they're like, well, yeah, you got to go. And I'm like, I'm going. As a matter of fact, I'm going soon. And and so I had that wonderful opportunity to the McLeods. I'm going to name you right
Yeah,
now.
absolutely, absolutely.
I love you and I appreciate you so much, because without your co-signing, I don't know if I would have chosen to go so quickly. I know I would have made my way there, but going with the Blantons and having this experience, I wouldn't want it any other way. It set a precedence, so I can't imagine. Yeah, it did for me.
Okay. We could explore that word. We're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave that there because it can mean anything. Yeah. But so then you get back and then you call them McLeods. I'm assuming that you call them.
Yes.
And I guess the conversation was different because now you had a shared experience.
Yes, I did. The family is wonderful, but they were like, okay, well, did you feel any way about leaving? I'm like, of course I did. It was very emotional leaving, because when you've had an opportunity to truly embrace home, a part of home, it speaks to a deeper part of one's soul, I would believe. And like you said, we can go deeper there, but it was just such a powerful experience, and it was just such a first class that was truly a first class experience. And being able again to immerse into the culture, to see the various aspects of what was provided for me was just amazing. And so those conversations, now I shared all of my footage, I shared my videos, and
sure did.
You were able to see it firsthand and see the looks on my face.
Yeah, you sent them to us, and I've been going through them, just taking a peek at them.
It took a while.
I went through them all, and that's why I was like, they're absolutely beautiful. You did a really good job. Thank you for capturing
Feel free to use any of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to put some out there, because people need to see that. Our people need to see that these possibilities do exist. And I understand. I've been to Vegas before, and I've been to all the Disney stuff, and I've done the islands, and even Hawaii. I took my mother years and years ago, and everywhere inside the States, and it was great, to say I've done that. Mm-hmm. But coming here is a whole different beast. Yeah. And if you haven't been here, you just will not understand. And that's why we're like, if you could just get here, we're going to make sure this thing do what it do. Yes. And South Africa never delivers. I mean, never under deliver. Or they over deliver.
Never disappoint.
Never disappoint.
Love it. Love it.
Okay, so now you get back. Now you got other friends. I'm sure you got at least one more other friend.
Yeah.
and so what happened? What did you tell them? Because I'm sure everybody is asking. So now you're back. What happened?
What happens is now folks are wanting to know more, because I shared all that footage with them. I mean, all over the U.S., people from the East Coast to the West Coast. And I'm going, well, I may not be able to explain everything that happened, but I'm going to share this with you so you'll be able to see it for yourself. And so I've already got a couple of folks that are saying they're going to reach out. So we hope that they're able to just push through any type of reservations that they have in order to go. So folks want to come. And I'm hoping they'll want to bring me with them. So
yeah, I'm sure you were creeping here. I remember years ago when my sister came. It was her first time. It was like my 15th time at that time. And she came, she called me. She was like, hey, we're going in a week or so. And I said, oh, okay, I'll meet you there. And her mind's like, so you just gonna just jump and go? Anytime I get a chance to come to South Africa, I am coming to South Africa.
I love it.
It just is what it is. So they came, and so I got there the next day, and they were hilarious. They were like kids in a candy store. It was like, this is so nice. This is so nice. I see why you keep coming over here. This is amazing. And I'm like, you only been here one day.
They really only been here like one day.
One day spoke volumes, and 6 days, whoa.
Yeah. They were a total mess. But like I said, and then that led to other, trips after that. I don't know how many more trips, maybe 4 or 5 more trips.
But they started bringing people with them, and people started wanting to, to see South Africa. So what we hope is that when you shared your story, that that they will obviously come to South Africa as well. And then you'll come back to South Africa. Maybe you'll come back with them. Maybe you'll hide in their suitcase. I don't know. But we do hope that you will tell people and bring people to South Africa the next time you come.
Don't have to worry about that. It's happening.
So let me ask you this: Do you have any questions of us? Like something maybe somebody might ask or wonder. Is there any questions you might have of us?
You all have been very forthright, open, and sharing of everything, and so that's a good thing as well for those who were wanting to reach out to ask questions that I may not be able to formulate today to ask. But you can easily go to the email or send a note out, and those questions will be responded to quickly to alleviate any reservation or answer whatever you have. But I think that was the biggest question that I had was coming there to live. That was probably the biggest question that I had, that others were like, well, what is it like to live here? And I think I spoke to a couple of the drivers. I'm like, well, what is it like to live here? And of course I go back to is it safe to live here? And then I thought about it. It's like, well, you've answered your own question on that one already. You can easily check and see, what is the crime rate and all these various things, who's guarding what, who's in charge over here, those types of things. And those questions can easily be answered, and yes, you can still remain, a resident of the US,
Yes.
and be there and do the things that you want to do to be able to help the community or help yourselves or whatever. And so those are some of the questions that were answered for me. So I really don't have any others.
Okay. Well, let me expound on the living here thing. The only reason you can even say, hey, I don't have a lot of questions because you've been here just a little bit. You came here enough to be able to, as you said, I left the restaurant and I went home because you had an apartment.
Yes.
And that was by design. We don't want to put you in something that you feel very temporary. In that apartment, you probably felt like you were at home for a short.
Oh my. And it was a wonderful home. Very, very designer home. I'm like, is this the refrigerator? Yeah, it was it was just, okay, I digress, but go ahead, please.
Yeah. So, we want you to have that experience. You didn't ask for it, but we put that in there. And so when people come with us and they're like, okay, I can eat at nice restaurants and I can go to these nice places. I can shop at something, pretty exquisite, because they actually, buy stuff. And I'm sure you bought a few things, and the price point, because of the exchange rate, was very reasonable. I would say that. So at the end of the day, of course, the food and being able to eat good food on a regular basis versus that one time I went to Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, and I'm trying to save my money. You can actually go in and eat good food. Just those things alone, people start adding them up, and they start thinking, well, maybe I could just live here. And so that's why so many of our people that come with us come up. I mean, they do the math. Even if they're on a plane going back, or when they're back for a week or so, they start thinking, maybe I can live here. And then there's an opportunity to get a retired person's visa, or there's other visas. The remote workers visa is active now. So then people start thinking, well, let me just get a visa. Let me go see. Or we got people now who are like, hey, let me come for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, because South Africa has an amazing visa, visitor's visa, that allow you to stay for 90 days. People take advantage of that. Yeah. And they're like, okay, and then they start realizing they can get health coverage, all the insurances. They start realizing all these things. So then they start comparing it to where they are and where they could be. And at that point,
it becomes a no-brainer.
Yeah. So I think it's happening to you.
I believe it is. It's good to know about those visas.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. I have one additional question for you.
Certainly.
Because a lot of people that travel by themselves, don't see the need, and they don't have the want to go on a safari. I think you had a positive experience on the safari, and we always encourage people to go. So if you could just talk about your safari experience, that would be awesome.
Shout out to Peter. Peter was so kind, y'all. Peter was actually the gentleman who gave me a 3-hour tour. Yeah, I know it sounds like you're looking out, but
yeah, it does. It does.
But I arrived safely. I didn't get lost. I didn't get eaten. Nothing jumped out at me. Y'all, please go on the safari. It was so wonderful having Peter. You're in a very nice vehicle that's up off the ground, even though the animals were more annoyed probably at us bothering them during their grazing or watering time. But everything was wonderful. There were more than just myself. So they were out there. There were trucks going and coming in a very well maintained, wonderful environment for the animals. And before you even get to it's a reserve. So before you even get there, you start to see the wildlife, you start to see the beauty of nature, and it's just so wonderful. And I found out you can actually stay there overnight, and if you wanted to get up and watch, the feeding of animals and things like that, you'd be able to do that in some other, of course, under some other type of event. But for me, it was perfect just riding around and seeing and having that private time, again, private. So if I wanted to stop and, take a look at the wildlife for 5, 10, 30 minutes, I'm able to stop at a particular location. There's no, with 3 hours, there was plenty of time to go throughout the reserve to look for the top 5, as they call it, the top 5. I saw most of them, got there a little later in the morning. So the lions were already up. You could see them moving around up in some of the hilly areas, but got a chance to see everything else. And it was just wonderful, wonderful experience. Go on the safari.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. I think people should go. Yeah, because
they should go too.
Yeah, like I said, that's one of my favorite things, and people who's been watching the channel knows that I'm always on safari. I haven't been out since November. No, December. November. Yeah, so it's I'm due. I'm definitely due. Okay.
And for those who are brave, you can walk out. I was fine being in the vehicle. Yeah. But you can't take a group out and walk out there. And I'm like, no, that's okay. That's okay. Good. I was fine in the wonderful arrangements that were provided to me. Go, Peter.
I remember my first time I went out remember we was in Limpopo.
Yeah.
At Mapagumwe. It's another way somewhere. And we got off I'm like, okay, we're going over there. We're in a vehicle. Why don't we just drive over there and then get off and hit this ladder and go up? And they're like, no, we're going to park the vehicles over here and we're going to walk. So we was all in a line, like children.
Oh my God.
And as I'm walking, I took my camera and my phone. I was like, okay, guys, if you find this phone,
you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and it was weird because I was a little nervous because we saw animals the whole time. They was just out doing their thing.
Yes,
it doesn't make any sense.
Like, why am I walking? There's a perfectly
great vehicle right there.
There's a perfectly good vehicle right there, and they're like, no, you'll be fine. Mark's like, you can't control these animals. There's like zebras over there, and then there was like cows, and then there were elephants, and I'm like, okay. Yeah. We're just walking in the middle of all this stuff. It was cool, but it does take you back a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. It was good being around the animals and in their space. And like I said, that's an experience that you're always going to have. Yeah. So now that you have returned back to the greatest country in the world, it's the greatest in every way. Every measurable metric, it's the best. How was it when you got back? Like now you've been back for a couple months. Like how do you feel?
I have such vivid memories of the experience that I had in Johannesburg. Even during this time that we're having unseasonably cold weather, I think about I arrived at Johannesburg at the perfect time. I was a little concerned about the weather, but the October time frame ended up being perfect because I believe it was transitioning from winter into spring or summer, which, like they say, spring doesn't last very long. But and so
Yeah.
it was perfect for those who might be, I can't take that heat, us
Yeah.
of a certain age. So yeah. So, but it was it was just great overall. So.
So you've been okay since you've been back, which is
Yes, it's
good.
great because I can think about these things during this while we're snowed in Georgia, which is very strange. I can think about it. I've been doing great, excited. As a matter of fact, it was like a refreshing for me because
Okay.
I had some major life changes early on, and that's why I almost didn't go
Ooh.
right away as I had signed for my trip, scheduled the trip, and then I was like, I don't think mentally I'll be able to get myself together to go. And then during this hard time, I'm like, well, this would be the best time to do something for me. And so this was specifically for me to just go and and be free. And for the first time, some folks are like, well, they had to raise the kids, they've been married, or they've lost people in their lives, and it's like, you've not done anything for yourself. This was the first documented thing that I was able to do for myself that was of substance, and that means the world to me.
That's beautiful.
So,
Yeah, because I can see, obviously we have people come here as families, obviously single people, obviously, large groups. We do large groups and we take care of everybody proper. And it's funny, like even when we did our large groups, some people were like, but it felt like it was personal for me because the just the way we do things,
and that's a
so.
gifting, I think. I think it's a gifting to be able to do that. I can see for an individual, but for large groups and still having that same effect, don't stop doing what you're doing.
Yeah, that's the plan. We want to provide this, for our community, and then people can, you know, bring their, because most of our people, they always like, as they're here, I need to bring so and
Oh
so.
yeah.
I need to
Mhm.
bring so and so. They need to see this, and obviously now you understand it because
Mhm.
you was that person at one point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Somebody was telling you, McLeod,
You
and
need to see this.
you need to
Yeah.
see it. And you actually, made an effort to, to reach out to us, which I don't think is a stretch, to do so.
And we don't take that lightly.
Yeah, and to the point to where you actually followed through, and then you came and had an amazing experience. We got a chance to actually meet you in person, so that
Oh,
was cool.
that was a joy. That was a joy. Thank you.
Say again.
I said it was a joy to meet you all. I was wonderfully pleasantly surprised. Hopeful, but still pleasantly surprised when you had the time. I wasn't sure if you all would have the time. Y'all are
Yeah,
out about
We made
business.
it work. I don't remember
I think
how
we
it
had just
actually
came.
we
We
had
had
come
just
from
came back
somewhere,
from
and I was
from
like,
somewhere.
and we're like, let's go before she
Yeah.
gets on the plane. So
Yeah,
yeah.
because we're always somewhere because we do a lot of vetting of stuff, go check on stuff. We our trips, like for sometimes, like when you look at the itinerary, it isn't like a solid. You're going here, you're going here, you're going here, because we try to get the best available. So we
Mhm.
might have 10 options, but you might be coming 6 months from now. So we gotta do the math on that, and then we try to put you in the best available. When people arrive. So when you get your final itinerary, there it is. Like you're gonna be here. And some people are like, but I want to know now. I want to know now. And I'm like, I want to put you in the best available.
Yeah.
But if you really, 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 really want to know now, I'm gonna
Lock
put you.
something down that may not be the best. Got it.
Yeah, yeah, and you could have had a much better deal, and whatnot. And then of course, our vendors, they usually work with us. They see the real South Africa and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, let's see what we can do to make their experience the best, and so forth. So a little bit of grace and a little bit of patience goes a long, long way.
Yes.
Well, I was pleasantly pleased. I tried not to worry y'all because once you lock in, it's like, okay, okay, this is happening. So I was very pleased with everything. I wouldn't change anything. at all, other than the number of days.
Fair enough. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
but it seems like you said you'll be back.
Yeah.
I think you said you was in a retired status. So whenever the weather changes over there and you feel like getting out, you got to dig. Is it snowing there or is it just cold?
It actually snowed here. We have had snow twice in 1 week, upwards of 4 inches, and ice. Yeah.
Oh
And of
man,
course, it's touching Florida now. So, yeah,
hmm.
That's just, it has,
bizarre.
I know it snowed in Florida back in 1989,
Right.
but never that, it hasn't been that far south in quite a few
A
years.
while. Yeah, around that may have been the time frame that I remember there was some snow and ice. But as far as the numbers being, because I'm near the airport, which is Metro Atlanta, the number of inches normally, of course, is up north.
Yeah.
Yeah, Duluth and things.
So 4 inches is quite a bit of snow.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
when I say it looked like a vehicle graveyard on the side streets, because they don't burn the side streets, so cars are
Yeah.
everywhere. It was just craziness, and I'm going, okay, let me just go back home and
Yeah.
think of my wonderful time in Johannesburg.
I love that. Love that.
So let me ask you this question. What do you think about these South Africans? I mean, they just recently came out of apartheid, and in our mind, it's pretty recent. They just came out of apartheid, and you meeting them. I mean, what was your first impression of them?
Honestly, I could, I guess, empathize with some of the struggle, especially those out away from the city, nearing the Soweto space. It's great to see that, everyone is out of apartheid, but it was still very much disappointing to see that their struggle is still very real for so many, and that there are limitations on education based off of whether or not you can get to where you need to go, or if you make a certain things on certain tests. And these were some of the things that were shared with me by the drivers, because I was asking, well, maybe I can just come and teach or something, and he's like, oh no, you'd have to go to this location. And I'm like, well, what if I wanted to go to this location? They were like, no, based off of what you do, and if you want to make money, you'll go here. And so there's still so much struggle there for them, but yet everyone is in this wonderful mood. They're not, just because they're having challenges, it doesn't mean that they carry it on them. The folks that I was able to meet, converse with, everyone was still very cordial, still very grateful and happy to be able to be there with you, to talk to you, to provide you with a wonderful experience. Everyone was still in a great, wonderful mood, and that says a lot, for the things that they've been through, and even the challenges even that they still have today.
Yeah, I will add to that, because like I said, we're here every day, and we do see these, see it happening. You can actually, if you want to, you could just kind of like focus on that solely, because that is happening. You can't miss it. But but in addition to, there's a lot of people that are ascending.
Yeah.
Maybe not as fast as they want to, but I would say to you, doesn't take generations like it's taking us.
Mm-mm.
And that's great. Yeah. I think you shared with me also that, because part of my one of my pastimes is acting, and now we're finally seeing more of African, Black people that are in the movies that are doing great things. And as you stated, they are ascending, and they're doing it rapidly. And I love that,
Yeah. It's incredible, to see, because I think about from my parents' generation and my generation, it's took, we made some moves, but I'm seeing people, they're 21 years old, and then by the time they're 30, they're like, oh yeah, I do this now, and then I left corporate, now I'm doing this, and we've been around to see a lot of growth, and then of course, all the infrastructure that's being built here in South Africa. as well. It's rising rapidly versus, here we are, we're in Virginia, and they closed down our theater that we had in our town, but our average home cost is over 500,000, between 5 to 600.
And you can't have a theater.
Again.
And you can't have a theater.
No, and they shut it down and never rebuilt it. We used to have a bowling alley. They took that. I could tell you all the things that they took, and they gave us a little strip mall, and they were like, "You're fine with that."
Yeah.
And then I'm here, and I'm like seeing all this growth like immediately. Some of the biggest malls that you're ever going to find, and they're everywhere. I think Johannesburg, I don't know the number, somebody's going to correct me, but I think we got like about at least 8 to 9 to 10 malls that are major size.
Yeah, and designer.
Yeah, so things are happening here. Things are moving fast, but it seems like in the U.S. things are kind of going in an opposite direction than what's happening here, for a lot of reasons we're not going to get into.
Right.
Wink. Oh, that didn't wink, did I?
You tried, but I don't know what happened.
I didn't see it through your glasses, but maybe I'm gonna be drinking more.
So or what?
Yeah. So as they're on the rise, I think Black Americans need to look at South Africa, through a different lens, versus the lens that's handed to us. Hey, go over there and find all the poor people. Go over there and find the poverty. Go and find all these things, and then come back and report. There's a lot here, way more than what people will find on their own for the most part, and that's why we do our tours. And when people come, they're just like, I think even the South Africans are like, so what do they think that we had? And if we answer that question,
they will be offended.
They will be offended. Yeah, because there's no good content, especially about South Africa, played in America through our whole lives, and I'm okay, cool. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap this up, young lady?
Oh, wow. I just want to say thank you once again for gracing me with your presence and allowing me to share my piece of the experience, which is for me phenomenal. And it's a memory that I will always cherish and look forward to adding on to. See, I hear you talking about some of those provinces that I look forward to experiencing, those additional provinces along the way as I make my way back. So just thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're definitely welcome. Just keep telling everybody these stories as many times as you can tell it.
I will.
And then hopefully, that's our little responsibility. That's it. Just tell our story.
Tell the story.
And now it's recorded, so then somebody will find this recording, 30 years later, and like, look at this.
And she went by herself. And she went alone. Alone, never alone.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you telling and sharing your story with us and letting everybody know who's going to be watching this content very, very, very soon. And we will see you hopefully in sunny South Africa again.
Absolutely. Thank you. Blessings to you both.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that testimony.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, it was a testimony. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. That because these stories, they don't have to. Nobody has to come back and say, let me go tell everybody. They're back at home, safe, and so forth. And yes, we kind of reached out because we wanted to tell the other side of the story. Once they return, everybody is excited when they get here. And then you might be thinking, well, maybe when they get home, it's like whatever. But then they get home and it never goes away.
And that's what we're finding.
Yeah.
What we're finding is that once, and this is how I've always described it, even for myself on my first visit, once South Africa gets in you, it's on you. Like, it doesn't leave. You can go through all the motions of your life once you get back, but South Africa kind of takes it becomes the forefront. It becomes your drive. It becomes your motivation. It becomes the place you want to get back to. You start watching more South African content. You start going through your pictures. You start just trying to figure how you can recreate that feeling that you had while you were here.
Yeah. And so you can come and create, have your experience as well. And I will tell you, if, for people that don't come with us, a lot of times they come in looking for the familiarity. I can't believe I got that word out.
You did.
Yeah.
You did good.
And they're looking for that. So they might be like, oh, there's a so-and-so, there's a so-and-so.
Yeah.
And like I said, they'll miss a lot of things. And then, of course, you might not have knowledgeable people with you, on the trip. And so you will come and you'll be like, okay. And then, all I can say is it's always good to have it, you're flying on a flight that lasts a little while, about 14, 15 hours.
Yeah.
All depends on how urgent the pilot is. I mean, you never know. You might like, I'm just trying to get there. You know what I'm saying? I flew this flight twice this week. I'm tired.
I was thinking something completely different.
Yeah. I don't know if I told this story. I'm gonna tell the story real quick, and then I'm gonna let you guys go. We had this lady. She came on a trip with, I think it was her and her daughter. It was her and somebody.
Yeah.
And they left Atlanta, and they got about 3 hours into the flight, and then all of a sudden the audio visual thing wasn't working, and so they try to reboot it or something, and then all of a sudden they come across, this is what they're telling us. So then they get they come on the air and they say, we got to go back to Atlanta. So then they had to turn around. They was 3 hours in. They went back to Atlanta.
6 hours.
So that's, I know, yeah, just do that. You keep the numbers.
I'll keep it.
And then so they had to, they sat on the tarmac for like an hour, and then they put them on another plane. I think they put them on another plane. Yeah, I think they put them on another plane just to start over again. So then they finally flew 14, 15 hours to Johannesburg. And so they went on their tour, and by the time we got to her, she was like, yeah, it was a hassle, but that trip was amazing. Thank you. That's all she kept saying.
Yeah.
Because she was like, when we went back, I was like, I wanted to get off the plane. But then when she came, she enjoyed herself. So those are the types of experiences that we're going to be giving to you guys. So all we can say is we will see you here in what we like to call sunny South Africa. Hey everybody, this is Mark Blanton, and this is
Dr. Latasha Blanton from the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism.
And we have amazing packages to Johannesburg, Cape Town, and Durban. So we would like to see you guys here. All you have to do is just go to our website, therealsouthafrica.com, and we'll make sure that your trip here is amazing.
See you here in sunny South Africa.
All right, guys, join us in South Africa on this special tour that we're putting together for you guys. Those of us who like great spas, luxe experiences, great food, great venues, like top-notch everything, this tour is for you. They're not too different than our regular tours that we normally do to Johannesburg, Cape Town, but this one is going to be extra special because you're going to get a chance to meet the chefs. You're going to get a chance to, just chill out. And of course, there's going to be a lot of shopping involved. So just go to our website, therealsouthafrica.com, and you too could be chilling in South Africa. And if you've never been to South Africa or you've never been to Africa, well, this is the perfect time for you to book that trip to make sure everything is taken care of, because we take care of your transportation, we take care of your hotels, your lodging, we take care of all your venues where you're going to eat. I mean, this is a no-brainer. It's the easiest way to travel, and to travel proper is to have everything selected for you, sorted, so you can have an amazing time. So all I can say is book this trip, and of course, go to our website, therealsouthafrica.com, and you're going to have the most amazing time possible. See you in sunny South Africa. All right, guys, the real estate tour for 2025, it has been set. We're going to Durban. Durban is amazing, as you can see. A lot of coastal villages, a lot of coastal property that you're going to be able to see right there on the Indian Ocean. We're going to be having a lot of events while you guys are there. Just like the 2024 trip, they were surprised of how organized and how well it was, and that they had access to property, and you're going to be able to have access to property as well. So if you ever thought about having property in sunny South Africa, this is your chance. I would say book this trip immediately, come through. Of course, we have payment plans and so forth. And of course, we have a lot of content on our YouTube channel talking about what they did in 2024 and in 2023 and in 2022. So I would say for you guys that are interested, come to sunny South Africa Real Estate Tour.
Imagine a place where your history comes alive and your future unfolds. Welcome to South Africa, where Black excellence meets natural wonder. From the vibrant streets of Johannesburg to the sun-kissed beaches of Durban, a journey of discovery awaits. The Real South Africa Travel and Tourism understands your journey. Because it's our journey too. We've curated experiences that speak to the Black American soul, ensuring your trip is not just a vacation, but a homecoming. From safaris that bring you face to face with majestic wildlife, to wine tours in the lush Cape winelands. We offer adventures that cater to every taste and interest. So why are Black Americans flocking to South Africa? Because here we don't just visit. We belong. Book your unforgettable journey today with the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism. Discover your roots, embrace your future. The Real South Africa awaits.
All right, guys, this is Mark Edward Blanton from the Real South Africa. And guess what? Our visa services is back. We're going to be helping you guys with visas because we all know that it can be problematic to get a visa here in the Republic of South Africa. So what we have done, we partnered with a big company that will assist us, and we've checked them out. We recommend that their services are very, very proper. Of course, we go with proper here in the Republic of South Africa, and they can assist you. So if you have questions about, do I qualify for a visa? Then that's when we have our consult. You get a consult with these guys. They will literally go through everything with you. And my expectations is for you to ask all the questions that you need to ask so you will know exactly which way to proceed. So they work in every arena of immigrations. So it would definitely help us who are looking to migrate to the Republic of South Africa. And all I can say is first, come on a trip, of course. And once you come on a trip, then you will be motivated to do all the work that needs to happen for you guys to come to South Africa properly. So all I can say is this is a great team. This is a great situation. All I can say is, again, reach out to us at outreach@therealsouthafrica.com. We will respond to you, and then you'll get an email, and then the process has began. Okay, so we will see you guys here properly in sunny South Africa.
South Africa has partnered with the firm to give you more options for payment. Please visit our website to find out more.
Do yourself a favor. Come to South Africa. Come to the Kruger and enjoy what is meant for you to enjoy. Look at this environment. Can't you see yourself enjoying yourself right here with the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism? Well, we can make it possible, and we could do this for you today. Go to our website, therealsouthafrica.com, and book, and you'll be part of something like this, something very special, something you can tell your friends and families that you did. And yes, this is Africa. This is the Africa that they do not want you to see, but we're going to show it to you, and we're going to make it available. And yes, we've been there ourselves, and we feel that this is the best experience that you can actually have here in the Republic of South Africa. So come here on safari with us. And of course, visit our website, therealsouthafrica.com. All right, guys, welcome to the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism, We are a travel company based in Johannesburg. However, we can get you to Durban because look at what you're looking at. Isn't that amazing? Can't you imagine yourself just hanging out here for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days? I'm trying to tell you, you're probably not going to want to leave like a lot of our guests from the past. However, all you have to do to come here is reach out to our website, therealsouthafrica.com, and you can come and enjoy and see what South Africa is really about. There's so much here, so much to do between the beaches, between the culture, between the food and everything else. And of course, the people here in South Africa in this place called Durban. We will see you here in sunny South Africa. It is time for a vacation, and where else would you want to go? Look at South Africa as one of the premier destinations in the world. We have Cape Town, we have Johannesburg, and of course we have Durban, and of course some of the best attractions in the world. We offer 5-star experiences here in South Africa, and of course the cultural side of South Africa as well. Contact us now here at The Real South Africa.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notifications button so you don't miss out on all things The Real South Africa. Thanks again.